A very good evening to all District 73 attendees and a very good afternoon to District 20 attendees. I see that we have 22 participants today, which is a great turnout, so excellent. Today's session will be pretty much presenting on Club Central. I will talk about how do you get onto Club Central and the different areas within it, which is going to be in the first section. So how to get to the web page, login, membership administration, etc. The second part of the presentation will be on award submission, specifically on pathways. How do you approve or deny level completions for your club members in Basecamp, and also how to submit education awards in Club Central. In the last section, I will touch upon how the club administration is done, not on all of them, just 4 of them. So the Distinguished Performance Report, the club officers list, the club roster, and the eligibility assistant. Okay, jumping on. The first section, like I mentioned, was Club Central. Easy to get onto. Open your favorite internet browser. It can be Chrome, Internet Explorer, Edge, Firefox, Opera. They all perform the same. Put in the URL toastmasters.org. Once you get on the web page, you will see multiple tabs at the top of the web page. Click on Leadership Central tab, and then it should expand to give you all the options under Leadership Central. And under that, you will see Club Central. For the benefit of the attendees, I have also included a direct link, a direct URL to the page. So a pro tip here is save it under your favorites in your browser. If you need to use it regularly, that helps a lot. So the moment you get onto Club Central, it will obviously ask you for your login credentials. So put in your member ID, email, password, and then click on the login section. And as I was mentioning before, the Club Central is essentially split over 2 sections. The first section is the club membership, where you can add your members, submit payments to Toastmasters, submit your education awards, as well as manage your club roster. The second section is all about the club administration, where you manage how your club operates. You can change, assign officers, all your club officers. You can update your contact and meeting information. You can see how your club is performing in the Distinguished Performance Report, as well as use the eligibility assistant. So I will touch upon these in a bit more detail as we progress through. Okay, moving on to the second section, which is award submissions. Now, a key point to note over here, if you are submitting education awards on Pathways, you still need to submit it 2 times. One on Pathways itself, where you will be approving a level completion. And then again, under Club Central, you will have to submit it under the Submit Education Awards. If your club member is not on Pathways yet, they're still pursuing the old CCCL paths, you just need to submit it on Club Central as normal. So I will take you through both the processes. The first one, like I said, is let's see how we do it for Pathways. And like I said, it's a 2-step process. The first step is actually approving the level on Pathways and then going into Club Central and then submitting the award education there. So if you see here on the top right, there's a gray box. This pretty much indicates which path I'm talking about, whether it's the CCCL or the Pathways section. For those of you who haven't been on Pathways yet, it is under the Toastmasters homepage, under the Pathways tab. If you click on it, it expands, and then you can click on Go to Basecamp. As before, I have also included the URL on this presentation, so you can save it under your favorites if you need to go into it pretty frequently. The first thing we need to do as club officers or Basecamp managers is get into Pathways and log in as the Basecamp manager. Now, these are assigned to the club president, the VPE, and the secretary as default roles. So any of those 3 can get into this as a Basecamp manager. Once you're in the Basecamp, you will be given 3 options. It says pending request, member progress, and manager tutorials. For submitting education awards, you will need to go under pending requests. Once you click on pending requests, you will get a list of all the members who have submitted their level completions. In this example, I've got one member from my club who has completed a level 2, and it's awaiting approval from me or any of the Basecamp managers. So if I click on the green tick, what happens essentially, it gives me this screen, which gives me an option to add any comment if I need to, and then I can go ahead and submit it. Now, this is the second step I was referring to earlier. As you see, I'm still talking about submitting education awards on pathways. I have not yet moved on to CCCL. So this is the second step which is required, and you cannot forget to do this because unfortunately, pathways is not integrated with the Toastmasters Education Awards website. So going back to Club Central, under the club membership section, you have the Submit Education Award tab. So click on that. It will take you to a list of all your members. So click on the drop down over there saying Select Member. You will get a list of all your club members. And once you select your member that you want to submit the award for, it's going to take a few seconds for the information to load, because what's happening is it's pulling member-specific information from the database. So you will see this pop up for a few seconds, and then you'll get the drop down in terms of what you can submit for that particular member. So click on the Select Education Program. As you can see, I have selected the member. It's the same one who had submitted the level 1 or level 2 approval. So I will click on Select Education Program, and I will get a list of all the education programs that he or she is eligible for. As you can see, that particular member had already completed level 1 and was submitting a level 2 completion, so it's come up as level 2. So once you select what you want to submit, which program you want to submit under, it gives you this screen, which basically gives you an option to review the award submission and just confirm that you're doing the right submission. If you click on that screen, it brings you here to just confirm that it's the right member, it's the right path. And if you need to change it, you can click on Edit and make a correction. If everything is good, just go ahead and click the Submit button. This would actually go ahead and trigger an email from Toastmasters saying, congratulations, you have completed a certain path or level. Now, this is the other part I was talking about, which is the CCCL. For those of you not familiar with this terminology, that's Competent Communicator and Competent Leader. These were the two pathways we used to follow in Toastmasters earlier on, but I understand as of 2018 onwards, all new members are automatically enrolled on pathways. But we still have some members following the old path, and we will need to submit education awards for them. The validity for the CCCL path and upward is, I believe, till end of June 2020, so about a year away. So if any members are still on the old path, we need to get them completed or start moving them into pathways before that time. As an example for this particular presentation, I have chosen the Competent Communicator path. And with the Competent Communicator path, what you will need to do is you will have to put in all the information required, like you'll have to give all the details of the project, what is the title of the project, and which particular day it was submitted. So you'll have to put in details for all the 10 projects that were completed. Now, this is exactly the same information that you would be capturing on the CCCL manuals of the members. Once you submit those details, the bottom part of the screen essentially offers 2 additional free manuals for first-time CC award recipients. So you can check with your club member and ask them if they want any additional manuals, and you can choose any 2 free manuals. They will still get those hard copy manuals delivered to their mailing address. An added option here is a letter of recognition that you can send to a member's employer if they want that to be done. If you select yes, it basically gives you an option to add the employer's name and their email ID. So it would come as an email saying you have completed, or so-and-so person has completed this particular achievement. Okay, moving on to a CL, which is the, oh, sorry, I haven't completed CC yet. The other sections you will need to fill out, of course, is the shipping address, because this is a physical certificate that will get sent out over mail. I have redacted the personal information for this particular member. So you can see that this is the billing address or the mailing address that's on the database. You do have an option to change it to a different address. So if you click on ship to a different address, you get the screen where you can put in a completely new address and have that sent out. Thank you, Christina. I see the colors. Okay, moving on. The other pathway was the competent leader. So that also requires you to submit all the details. The difference being you just need to submit the dates, and then you still have the option of having a letter of recognition sent to the employer, as well as the address. So that's part 2 of the presentation. The third section of today's presentation is all about club administration. Essentially, the club administration section has a lot of tools which can help support the club officers in managing their club. Like I mentioned before, I will specifically talk about the DCP, the club officers list, the club roster, and member eligibility, because that is something which we, as club officers, we will use day in, day out to manage the club. Okay, the first one is the Distinguished Club Program, also known as DCP. For those of you who are not aware of this, it's a set of 10 goals developed by Toastmasters International that helps clubs in achieving education, membership, and administrative objectives, and runs from the 1st of July till the 30th of June, which is the Toastmasters year. This particular report, when you go there, so again, when you click on any of these tabs, it will take you to that particular screen. So this shows you essentially what's your goal that you have met so far through the year. Again, the program is offered at 3 levels. So if you get 5 of your goals, 5 out of the 10, you get a distinguished club status. If you achieve 7, you get a select distinguished, and 9 and above gives you the highly coveted President's distinguished status. And I'm happy to say that we should be achieving that once I submit the level 2 completion for Joanne. Okay, other things you can also do is you can roll it upwards. So you can see how your club is performing against others in your area, others in your division, even up to the district. So you can see the results upwards as well. It shows you more information in terms of your eligibility, in terms of your membership base and your to date. As you can see, you need a minimum of 20 members to be eligible for this program, and some clubs do struggle with that at times. You are also able to export the data into a PDF. I generally export this in the PDF and use it during my executive meetings. It helps give them a perspective of how the club is progressing on the goals and which areas we need to focus on to start getting the next one. You can also choose a date that you want to look at. So if you want to track performance of your club, how you have developed over the months, you can choose a particular date and export that data as well. I've also put in a link at the bottom of the screen, which tells you about the Distinguished Club Program in more detail. So in your spare time, please do go visit that link. It will give you all the details of how to achieve it and your club success planning, etc. The second tool that I was going to talk about today was the club officer assignment. Since we are in the middle of changeover at this point of time, we are getting 2 options. One is your future and your current. So as you can see, this is the current club officers at Mighty Docklands. And we need to update that to the future incoming club officers. So that is something we have not completed yet, even though we have completed the selections. So this is a screen where you manage your club officers. Now this maintenance screen can be changed anytime during the year as and when there are any changes. So if you have some club members leaving and coming in as new officers, etc., you can keep maintaining it through the year. And again, you can always print it out and bring it to your executive committee meetings. The next part is the club roster. This specifically tells you how many club members you have in your club, when are they paid until, and details about their mailing address, email, and their phone numbers. You are able to export this into an Excel or a CSV format. And one of the things I find useful is once I export it out into Excel, I'm able to get all the email addresses in one go. So if I need to send a mass mail to the club, I can pick up all the updated list from here. It also shows you which of the club members are enrolled in Pathway. So this is another way of finding out who's not yet enrolled. Other things you can see under the club roster is it tells you how many paid members are. And during renewal time, you'll see that you'll also have some unpaid members, so then you can drive your membership accordingly. This will help you determine your eligibility for your DCP points. The last tool I want to talk about is the eligibility assistant. Essentially, this allows club and district officers to check membership status, club status, and if a member is serving as a club or district officer. This information can be used when determining whether or not members are eligible to compete in speech contests and or be a proxy. And the way to use this is you'll need to put in the member ID and their last name, and it will tell you whether the member is eligible for certain activities or not. You can also do this for yourselves. If you click on check myself, it will pop up your details as well. So that brings me to the conclusion of my presentation. I'm open for questions.
Fantastic, Amit. Wow, that was so very good. I am very impressed with what you've covered here tonight. And there was a question that came up earlier when you were talking about, let me see where that is. Okay, yes, it's a question from Claire. Now, Claire asks, are we supposed to check off any evaluations, etc., before we approve? Would you like to answer that question?
I see Tracy putting her hand up actually, so I'm just going to give it to her.
That's a good point.
I have a question for you.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
Sorry, so what was Claire's question?
Claire's question is, should we check the evaluations, etc., before we approve that someone has completed their level?
Yeah, I'm happy to speak to that. And I actually had that down as a FAQ.
All right.
Yes, you certainly, as the VPE processing any educational award, you do need to do your due diligence. This becomes a challenge when your member is in multiple clubs. If they're in only your club, then it's easy for you to validate, because if you use either Easy Speak or Free Toast Host, you'll have a record of the activities that the member has completed. The challenge is when they're in multiple clubs, because you need some way of validating. So I personally ask for the evidence, because it's already been highlighted. I can't see in the members folder to see if they have the evaluations completed. Because originally I thought that I would be able to, but we can't. So I asked the member to show me.
Brilliant. Thank you, Tracy. All right, let's see if there are other questions for Club Central. Anyone who is new to that whole idea of Club Central might have a question. Just unmute yourself to ask your question.
So Carol, can I ask my question?
Yeah, so you go ahead.
So Amit, so I've learned something new. You had about the eligibility, which I think is a fantastic tool. Can I do that for anyone in my district, or is it only my club?
It's for any Toastmaster member. You just need the
around the world
member ID, yes, and the last name.
Oh, fantastic! Oh, sorry, I can see Deb shaking her head.
I mean, I've checked eligibility for different club members, and it has given me the information.
Are
so far,
they?
I've not had a chance to check for other districts or divisions.
Yeah, because I was checking for some and I couldn't. It wouldn't let me do it.
I could.
Because if it's beyond my club, it's fantastic. Especially as an area director or a division director, when it comes to your contests, it just makes life so much simpler.
Yeah, if you've got area or division access, yes. But if you're not nominated that in Club Central, I believe it's not.
Right.
Otherwise, anybody's just willy-nilly.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
But we can always find out and confirm that.
I can check right away if someone's from District 20 wants to give me their member ID and last name.
How about you, Kaji? Would you like to be our guinea pig?
Don't get a choice.
Are you there, Kaji?
Yes, I'm here.
Would you like to give Amit your membership number? He'd just like to double check if we can actually see from the
Yes,
eligibility.
Yeah, sure. Give me a second.
Sure.
Yes, unless we've got it written down. It's not an easy answer, is it? Who can remember 7 digits? Not me.
I know my employee number.
That's all that matters.
So,
Yeah, we know our telephone numbers and we know our birth dates, but membership
so my
ID?
my number is 6637.
Yep.
663.
And last name is Barreto, Barretto.
TTO.
Let's see what comes up. Member not found. Oh, okay.
Because
Yes.
so if they're in your division or district, depending on your level, you would have access to them. If you were on the international committee, then you would have everyone's access. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yes.
That's a
Thanks
great
for that,
question.
Debbie.
Thank you.
That's really good. All right, that rolls us neatly into more frequently asked questions. But just before we get into that, there was another one here from Claire, which was a very good question about uploading of written evaluations after people have done their pathways speeches. Should those written evaluations be uploaded to their e-portfolio on Basecamp? Who would like to answer that question? Maybe
I
Tracy?
can answer. Shall I?
Yes, I'm happy to. Sorry, someone said that they'd answer it though. I'm not sure who that was.
I'm happy to give my opinion. In our club, it's just a matter of so I've introduced this to our club, but it's it seems to me it's just a recommendation for the members to upload their evaluation into Basecamp, but it's not really a requirement. So it depends, perhaps from club to club. How would they track all the evaluation or the rows and all the speeches? But if you're using Easy Speak, that's really easy. But otherwise, it's really just a recommendation, but it's not necessity.
Thanks, Christina. What do you say, Tracy?
I was going to concur. It's an individual decision. I think it's great if you want a tool that collates all your information in one place so that you don't lose it. However, it becomes a personal choice. I had thought that part of the reasoning, it really helped VPEs review your evaluations were completed for projects that you'd undertaken. However, that's not its purpose. So it becomes an individual's choice.
Excellent. Now, earlier in the chat, I had looked at that question and I thought this particular document would be relevant and valid for everybody as a way of doing that in manual print-based format, like we used to do for the CC manuals. So I've put the link in again. It takes you to our District 73 website. In the Pathways downloads, there is what we call a Pathways level completion checklist. And it's pretty simple to use. So if you are concerned with, doing due diligence, then use that one to help with that process. So now back to you, Tracy. You have the floor now for any other frequently asked questions for Pathways. And it's really lovely to see what Amit is doing.